There we are. We are back. It's Happy Monday. It's the Recap Lunch Hour with Guff. Me, Ryan McGuffey, here in the Recap Studios. Happy to be back with you after a really good weekend. Got some emotions on the McGuffey house. We got stuff going on with kids taking the next step in their lives, which is all good and great. And hopefully you and yours who are going through that stuff are as well. It's all brought to you by our fine partner at Hooters, originalhooters.com, order.hooters.com if you want to pick up and take out. They got that new drink of the month, the blueberry lemonade. I had it. It's delish. That bullet bourbon and that blueberry puree. Some new beer specials. We'll talk about those later in the show. Now that the calendar is officially in June, and I'm declaring it summer before it's officially summer. A lot of things happening over the weekend, locally, nationally, finals, etc. Threw a question out there on social about the Cubs. The chat is full. I love it, you guys. The chat's full. Did the Cubs get hosed by umpiring, or did they just get beat by the Detroit Tigers, or both? There was some horrific. I'm not one to sit there and pound the pavement that officiating or umpiring is all that awful all the time, and that's an excuse, et cetera, et cetera. But Saturday, the Cubs won. Doug Eddings, who sucks anyway as an umpire, that guy's been biffing games for 20 years. He was the guy, if you go all the way back to 2005 with the White Sox, when A.J. Pierzynski had the drop third strike, he was the guy that goes out, and then when Pierzynski gets to first base on the drop third, he says safe. That's Doug Eddings, who had a really bad day. And then you go yesterday, Nico Horner, a pitch, it wasn't close. It was well off the plate. He turns around and says, "You're having a really bad day so far." That's it. Gone. No, nothing else. Gone. That's that. Craig Counsell. Craig Counsell came out fired up, back in his team. No surprise, he was tossed too. But here you go. The Cubs have a leadoff double, nobody out, and you're down 2-0. Like it took the rug from right out underneath. I didn't think. Look, it was great. Okay, it was great to have the sold-out ballpark, two great teams going head-to-head. Both teams honestly deserve better. Cap in the recap said he wasn't all that impressed by the Tigers. Of course, the White Sox split with the Tigers last week. So let's get to some of the comments as we open things up. My guy Pablo is starting us off. Happy Monday. Cubs are the better team in town with their great play, but lately it's been fun watching the kids play on the south side. Still a lot of work to do, though. Jess, happy Monday to you. Your Pirates are red hot, by the way. Shame to see poor officiating yesterday in the Cubs-Tigers game. When the ump clearly is missing the same pitch again, the response should be to improve, not throw people out. Agreed. I have zero interest, by the way, in robot umps. I just am not a fan. I know that they're trying it in AAA, and I think Rob Manfred, at the end of the day, wants that to happen at the big league level. I, for one, am not one that wants it. I think an umpire should be graded on their basically graded on their calls and accuracy. And if you don't reach a threshold of 90% or above, you're gone. Like, there should be relegation, demotion, promotion, etc. Jess, I almost thought for a minute it was Angel Hernandez out there, but no, it was Derek Thomas. Shaking my head, he's not helping the case. Having robot up, literally, how about that? Just feeding right off you, no doubt about it. Becky, Derek Thomas needs to be fired or someone else. Here's where this is my take on umpiring too. When you know the name of the umpire, it's not a good thing for the umpire. Like, the best would be just to be like, oh, that umpire, he was good. When you know the name of the umpire, it's not good. What up, Swayze? Becky, good win for the Thunder last night. Good for you, Becky, for not leading with that. Going right to the Cubs. Excuse me. Oklahoma City, and it really didn't surprise me. Blowout fashion, really kind of led wire to wire in that game. 1-1 as they head to Indianapolis now for games 3 and 4 of the NBA Finals. Swayze, it's time for these 80s and 90s ump to retire ASAP. That's the thing about the guy yesterday, Derek Thomas. He's not even an old dude. You just can't cost teams chance to win on games on bad calls like that. He destroyed any momentum. Look, I understand you can't argue balls and strikes, but when you turn around and be like, hey, yo, dude, you're having a bad day, like that ball was inside, I think that's okay. Some of these umps want to be part of the show too much. I think they should have a report card. I really do. Umpiring should have a report card, and you can get you got the minor leagues. You don't live up to it, boom, you're sent down to AAA. How many games do we think the Cubs will take against the Phillies? 0, 1, 2, or all three? So, yeah, it doesn't get any easier for the Cubs as they go to Philadelphia. Or do you argue that this is the time? How about the Phillies, who I think are one of the better teams in all of baseball? And they are. They're without Bryce Harper for the immediate future, really foreseeable future. They've lost 5 in a row and 9 out of 10. The Phillies, 5 in a row and 9 out of 10. Cubs sit at 15 games over 500 after losing 2 out of 3 to Detroit. I think they're taking 2 out of 3. I think they're getting them at the right time. Cubs should have won that game yesterday if it wasn't for the ups. Now, I'm kind of like, I think they got screwed by the umpires, but I also feel like they got beat by the Tigers. I mean, the Cubs never did tack on anything. The threats really weren't there. The Tigers tacked on. It's tough for me to say one particular moment, but when you have second base or a leadoff double, nobody out, a terrible call, he's gone, he's out, and now you've ejected him? Come on, man. Yeah, Nico, but Nico's all class. I've talked to Nico. He is as good of a dude as there is in the game. Very smart, too. Eric, Guff, tough series for the Cubs. Umps were awful last 2 games. Hopefully we can get a series win against Philly. Yeah, I mean, Doug Eddings was terrible on Saturday, and the Cubs found a way to win. The Tigers could make a case. But really, I look at Doug Eddings. He was terrible for the Cubs, and the Cubs were able to overcome. Yeah, and he's out for the foreseeable future. He's out indefinitely, Becky. That's not good for the Philadelphia Phillies. Good afternoon to the real Phil Simms. Tough series in Detroit, on to Philly and win the series. Hey, split the road. Well, it's a longer road trip, but get 2 out of 3 now and split that last 6 and come home. That's the way I look at it. You got division games coming up here in June. That's where you got to take care of business. I can see it losing a game, but not that way. It was egregious. Seems like that ump has an axe to grind, and it was shameful. Dude, the fact that the guy turns around, you're having a bad day, and he's gone, I think it was BS. As in any sport, the umps and refs can't make the game about them, and he did that shaking my head. Ump was totally blind. That's the problem I have, Swayze, is that when the ump tries to be bigger than the game, Joe West was that guy for a long time in the American League. Phillies are reeling. This is time for the Cubs to pounce. Agreed. This, to me, is about getting a team at the right time. Cubs are getting them at the right time. Matthew Boyd, Zach Wheeler tonight. Boyd's been dealing. We know Zach Wheeler's one of the best in the game, but offensively, the Phillies have been a mess. They got swept by the Pirates. The Pirates. To answer your Cubs question, says Peyton, the Cubs beat themselves, and the umpires were still garbage. Peyton, I can respect the hell out of that comment. I really can, because that's kind of where I live. Do I think that there was did the ump pull the rug out from the Cubs and change the momentum of the 5th inning? 100%. Does it change the outcome? I think it's tough to argue that. Becky's still pissed about it. Jay, Cubs just got beat by the better team. I think if I'm lining up the Tigers and the Cubs 10 times, I think the Cubs are going to win 6, at least 6. I do. So I think the Cubs are a better team than the Tigers. I do. I really do. Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals was definitely off the charts. Can't wait for tonight at the Rat Palace. So I had a parlay going, to your point, on Phil, with a buddy of mine. And all we needed was the Panthers money line. Oh, baby. That kept me up. Fantastic, by the way. I mean, how about the first 2 games of the Stanley Cup Finals? Terrence, we need to trade Hap. He's expendable. Kind of coming out of left field on that one. Trade Ian Happ. Well, what are you getting in return? That's my question. What are you getting in return? And just to be clear, I want to make sure that we're on the same page here. He signed through the 2026 season, and he's owed about $10 million this year and $19 next year. So it's got to be a team that's willing to take on money. I don't think they're trading Happ either, Becky. CPO, what's up with you, man? I'll be at Petco Park tonight for Dodgers Padres. Look at CPO. That's what I love about this group, man. You guys are watching all over the flipping map. Who wins Big Four battle? Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, and Teoscar Hernandez, or Tatis, Luis Ariz, Marilyn Machado? Oof. I mean, if I'm going to just pick those, I will pick Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman almost every single day of the week. I'll lean Dodgers here. But the Dodgers, I've been adamant that they've just been kind of treading water. They're 5-5 their last 10. They're 12 games over. The San Diego Padres could get back into first place tonight. Or not, they could tie with a win tonight. There's my guy. Look at him. He's not just jolly old Breck Bear. He's actually showing himself as Brendan Rodman. My man. Kyle, good afternoon. Another win by the Chicago Fire over the weekend. How about Kyle with some soccer, some football? Here's their record for the past 9 games. 7-1-1, includes the U.S. Open Cup match. It's amazing how this team has turned around in only 2 points from a playoff spot. Take that. Kyle, our resident soccer intrepid reporter. I love it, Kyle. I have to reach out to my buddy who works for the Fire. There's been progress on Shota and Hodge on rehabbing, but I don't think that they're close just yet. Shota closer than Hodge. The ump should get an F-. F- to me is the ultimate kick in the you-know-what. I mean, because you had to go out of your way to get an F, but then to get an F-. It was like the Cubs versus MLB, bro. They were playing a good team and definitely didn't need that ump killing their momentum. I get it. It's time to move on. Cubs got hosed the entire weekend against Detroit. Umps are only human, but come on, man. 3-3 is still good going to play the Philly. No doubt about it. That's kind of where I'm at. Overcome. Now it's time to overcome. IRA umpire performance effects on a team balances out over course of a season. Great pitching counters a very good offense. Dustin, a classic case of an inexperienced umpire knowing he missed a call and not wanting to be proven wrong in front of 40,000 fans. Well, then don't eject the guy. But I see what you're saying, Dustin. Umps were a joke, says Christian this weekend. David, from what I could see, Happ was safe at home. If he was safe, they have a run in and second and third could have led to a big inning. Yeah, they had the rug pulled out from him all weekend. No robot umpires, bad calls are part of the game. Every team deals with it. My man, Lip Ripper, I totally agree. I do not want robot umps. I think that would just be challenging calls, strike, ball. Having an ump sit there waiting for a buzz for a strike or a ball. What's up, Eli in Jerusalem? From what I saw, Doug had a worst behind the plate on Saturday. Yes, I think Doug Eddings. They do give out report cards, by the way, and it's pretty incredible sometimes. I haven't seen one in a while. I have to find the account. I should have found it before. There's an account that actually grades. Here, Doug Eddings. Oh, this is way back. This is Doug Eddings. This is another Doug Eddings horrible game. You got to love it. The ump scorecard. I think I'm going to try to find it here because it's here. Umpire scorecards. I found it. It's called, shockingly, umpire scorecards. So while we're on the topic and before I said we need to move on, let me hold up. Let me find the game. Let's see here. I'm looking for the game. We're almost to Cubs. Here we go. Here's what's going to screw everybody up. Look at his grade. Overall consistency, 99% yesterday. Overall accuracy, 96%. Called ball accuracy, 98. Called strike, 94. Okay. I mean, how do I argue that? I can't argue that. You go back to Saturday now, and Saturday's game, I guarantee you Doug Eddings was terrible. Doug Eddings on Saturday. I'm glad that we brought this up because I forgot about the umpire report cards. I'm almost to this game. Here we go. Doug Eddings. There's the number you got to look at. Strike accuracy, 80%. Gone. 80%. Pirates did sweep the Phils. The strike zone needs to be electronically based as Clyde. I don't agree. Sean, I've been saying Chris Sale since you know when. I've been saying Chris Sale's name to keep an eye on the Braves since April. I put it out there. I would trade him with the right package. The Cubs have a great prospect haul to make that happen. I really think that. They're catching the Phillies at the right time, no doubt. How many games will the White Sox win on their road trip? They are not. It's not a great time to be a. The White Sox had a great weekend, 100%, but they're going to Houston and to Texas. They'll be in Texas all week long. 2-4, I feel like would be a good road trip. Should have to do a press conference post-game like players and coaches if there was a missed or horrible call. Just says umpire performance and umpire getting upset because someone respectfully called you out on your performance are two very different things. If you get easily offended, don't be an ump in the majors. Congrats to the Lady Texas Longhorns over the weekend, winning their first ever college World Series over Texas Tech. That was a great series too. Hook 'em horns. There's the Godfather. Having two young pitchers and Ray in your rotation just won't get it done. Has Ricketts woke up from his winter hibernation yet? Cheapskate. Hey, welcome. Happy Monday, Godfather. Happy weekend. By the way, I do think a big trade's coming. Good afternoon, Jay. Good weekend for the White Sox, even with the loss yesterday. Who do you believe are the most likely players to be traded by the Sox? There aren't a lot of them. I think Michael Tauchman's probably likely to get dealt. Adrian Hauser, if he continues to pitch like this, I think he's a lottery ticket somewhere. Maybe a Cam Boozer in the bullpen. I don't see like the Michael A. Taylor's going really anywhere. There's not a lot of pieces. I still think Luis Robert goes. I still do. Not for what for what he once was. I still think he goes. Guess what? Hooters has some new beer specials. I told you I'd be telling you about them. The Big Daddy mugs are a-flowing. But in June, we got Michelob Ultra for people. You can keep that summer figure going. The Mick Ultra helps with that. The Mango Cart, the Kona Big Wave, I'm a fan. And the Sam Adams Summer Ale. Get the Big Dog mugs. Cheers to Summer Brew Specials. Big Daddy mugs are flowing at Hooters with those seasonal specials on tap. The tender tacos, the cinnamon pretzel bites. Someone came up to me over the weekend, said they got the cinnamon pretzel bites from my recommendation. And they were like, dude, I can't believe I've waited so long to put those in my mouth. Yes, I just said that. It'll probably be clipped off, but whatever. Mango habanero sauce, the sweet heat. You guys know I love it. OriginalHooters.com. Visit one of the 11 Chicagoland locations nearest you. The Blueberry Lemonade, the drink of the month. $8 all month. Blueberry puree, Bullet Bourbon. Really good way to kick off summer. And order.hooters.com if you want to get your order to go. Some NASCAR information coming up later in the show. We will begin our ticket giveaway later this week. Yes, tickets to the NASCAR street race coming up. Guadalupe 343 is a lifelong Tigers fan and baseball fan of nearly 50 years. Guadalupe, appreciate you being here. The calls in the past two games have been the worst I've ever seen. So intentional. They manipulated you again. Look at that comment. Guadalupe saying, I'm a Tigers fan and you got screwed. I can't. Hey, that's a hat tip to you, Guadalupe. My guy, Al. It's good to see Al last week. I like your comment about umpires going to the minors. It works with players. If a player makes too many errors, they are sent down. Agreed. Eli wants the White Sox to go 4-2 on the road trip. That would be a phenomenal road trip. Jacob deGrom is a better option than Chris Sale. Atlanta will fight to the end while Texas can't score. Okay. I suggested both players. Okay. I suggested both Jacob deGrom and Chris Sale. Jacob deGrom's owed roughly about $100 million, has a full no trade clause. They are still clawing in the AL West, 5.5 games back, 4.5 back of the wild card. The Atlanta Braves are done. They are DONE cooked. They are 10 games under 500. They've lost 7 in a row. They are 14 games back in the NL East, and they're 9.5 back in the wild card. And as I've said before, only the Marlins, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Colorado Rockies have a worse record in the National League. Chris Sale is the better option because you get team control next year if you so choose, the $18 million option. The Major League Rugby playoffs start this weekend. Let's go the Chicago Hounds. Kyle, my guy, all over the place. The Chicago Hounds. Hey, let's get it done. Our people over at Clark Street Sports, our guys over there, they do all the apparel for them, for the Chicago Hounds. If you're into that, really cool stuff that they have at Clark Street Sports. Manipulating you again to support replacing the umps with the new tech from the tech industry where too many new owners originate, especially the Mets. Despicable. Guadalupe is fired up. It's all about them. Mine. Amen. 2 out of 3 in Philly, go 5-4 on the trip, Becky. You know how I feel. Always a good time. Always a good trip if you're over 500 coming home. June 9th, under the luxury tax, Ricketts is a bum. Godfather from the top rope. It's Monday. Looks like the Cubs have a great future, too, with 2 young starters in Ben Brown and Cade Horton. Al, absolutely. Good call there. Jess, the Pirates are red hot, Guff, because Nutting needs Cruz to look like a little better to get top dollar for him at the trade deadline. How about the performance by Paul Skeens yet again? That the team did get a win. Of course, he did not. That's what happens. That's okay. He's 4-6. There's like a 1.88 ERA or something. It's off the top of my head. Like, the guy's been unbelievable. It's mine. And if you don't do what I want, then I will break my toys and go home. Is exactly who these people are. Monsters. Nothing new. Wow, Guadalupe. Sounds like it's personal here. They're playing you again. They don't care about you, your kids, your family, your life. Nothing. It's all about them and their profits. As the average dad who can't afford to take his kids to a ball game. Guadalupe, have the floor, man. Take it and run with the baton. Really good stuff. Yeah, Becky. We know the Cubs beat the Godfather, the Truth Teller. Joe West, interesting how he was the only ump that called balks on Mark Burley. Yeah, that ended a great streak. I remember back then. Guadalupe continues more than once or twice a year. Again, despicable. They're all in it together, and you are not. Guadalupe. Worst umpiring I've ever seen. That's how you know it's intentional. It's a joke. We're a joke. They're a joke. It's a despicable joke. Corporate profits, power, and control. Nothing new. Guadalupe. Feels like this, like I said, feels like it's personal. Dustin Happ, statistically speaking, top five hitter, leadoff hitter in the National League, plus a 3-time Gold Glover. Why would you get rid of that? They're not. I just don't see a situation. Guff, you still think OKC wins it all? I do. Fort Lickerdale is ready for Game 3 tonight. Reinhardt game-winning goal. I think, Sean, that Chris Sale will get traded. I really believe it. Man, there are a boatload of comments in here. Al, Doug Eddings, start out how I did the show to start with AJ, bringing that back. Can the Cubs get Talkman back? They could. I don't know where. He definitely would be a off-the-bench guy. Braves look done. They are done. Cubs need to throw everything at Sale. The guy just continues to groove. For those questioning, and we're going to get to a couple of things here, our bet of the day also coming up, just so we're on the same page about Chris Sale for a team that's 10 games under 500. Chris Sale has made, come on, good time for the internet to freeze. Chris Sale has made 13 starts. He's 3-4 with a 2.93, 96 strikeouts, and 73 2/3 of an inning. Let's get it done. Lip, if you like the Kona Big Wave, you got to try the Kona Walua. It's a wheat ale. Ooh, okay. Yeah, Kyle definitely taking down the title of Mr. Chicago. Everything, I think, is what we want to call him. My God, Jordan, 24 years ago today, my friend, how far we have come, especially you with this great live lunch hour. Love you, buddy. Love you, pal. 24 years ago this week, I embarked on a baseball trip with 5 of the best guys you could ever have in your life. What a journey. 18 days on the road, going to baseball parks all over the country. Absolutely fantastic. Today, on this day 24 years ago, it ended at Cubs Sox at Comiskey. We sat in the bullpen bar. It was absolutely fantastic. Jordan, appreciate you bringing that up, pal, because we were talking about it earlier on our text chain. Speaking of stuff to bring up, July 5th and 6th, the NASCAR Chicago street race, the only street race in the NASCAR circuit, will be right here in this great city. The Xfinity Series on Saturday, the NASCAR Cup Series on Sunday. We are giving away tickets all month long. This Wednesday will be the first time we give tickets away here on the show. This Wednesday on the Recap Lunch Hour, we will be giving away a pair of tickets to the NASCAR Chicago street race July 5th and 6th. They include the opportunity to see the Zach Brown Band on July 5th on Saturday. Zach Brown Band will be playing in Grant Park, and you could go. If you're interested in more information or buying tickets for yourself, but folks, we're talking about like a $400 value here for a pair of tickets. NASCARchicago.com is where you want to go. July 5th and 6th, the street race. It's awesome. I've been there. Wednesday, we'll be giving away a pair of tickets to the NASCAR street race, which I think is pretty stinking sweet. All right. What's next on the list? You guys know. It looked like a rough week last week, but I said we can't go out like this. We can't go out with nothing but losers. Well, that's why I'm wearing the aviators, Pablo, because we checked off the box. The Red Sox and Yankees on Friday at even money went way over the 9. As a matter of fact, the Yankees hit the total by themselves. They won 9-6, way over. We cashed on Friday, brought the week back to 2-4 and more respectable. I'm going off the grid again. I'm going with the Cleveland Guardians and Cincinnati Reds. Tilt. There was like 4 different bets I wanted to put in here. So The Cincinnati Reds have revived the corpse of Wade Miley, 38-year-old Wade Miley, former Cub, the lefty throwing Wade Miley, who made his debut last week, 2 innings against the Milwaukee Brewers, 4 earned, a homer, and 6 hits in 2 innings. Carlos Santana, now the Guardians coming back from a road trip where they just lost 2 out of 3 to Houston and the Yankees. And of course, we know that the Reds got a big sweep of the Diamondbacks, who are really struggling. The Reds get the big sweep of the Diamondbacks. So you're feeling like, well, the Reds are kind of hot, except Wade Miley. Carlos Santana is 7 for 15 in his career off of Wade Miley. He's having a really good season, a WAR of almost 1.5. This could be done in the first inning. I hope that Wade Miley pitches well enough to get 2 at-bats against Carlos Santana. But with this juice at plus 135, the career experience of Santana and Miley in a rivalry game, I'm going with Carlos Santana, 2 or more bases at plus 135. So let's go. Let's go. Hi, Troy. Welcome to the program. Swayze, Guadalupe, and Godfather, not to be tried. Dude, right? These are the killer G's. Put Guff in the middle of that. Guadalupe, Guff, and Godfather. Sounds like a power super team right there, right? Let's go. Preach Guadalupe. The city of Pittsburgh agrees with you. Godfather, last Cubs game I went to was 1998. Godfather, we need to get that changed. Oh, baby. Refuse to pay ridiculous prices when Cub owners won't go the extra mile to sign top free agents. But Godfather, in 16, bud, I'm a fan. You know I'm a huge fan of you. In 16, they did spend. They spent on Lester. They spent on Hayward. They won the World Series. I didn't know it was 1998. I feel you. I do. But damn, my man. Maybe if things change, we can get you to a game. What do you think? Chicago, I agree. Why buy the damn team and be cheap? Oh, why buy the damn team? Might as well have kept the team with the Tribune Company. No, I think they are much better off with the Ricketts than the Tribune Company, because that was a complete catastrophic mess. Lip, look at dude. I'm literally going to cue this up so when after the show's over, I can go right to it. The World Cup UEFA qualifier, Croatia to win, plus 105 and over 6.5 goals, game 3. I mean, look at that for an off-the-grid bet. Speaking of an off-the-grid bet, mine's not even off the grid compared to what Lip Ripper just threw out there. Over 1.5 bases by Carlos Santana. We were 2-4 last week. We get it done again this week. All right. Read the new beer specials to you. We hit the bet of the day. NASCAR tickets coming to the show on Wednesday. So if you are interested, we will get you tickets to July 5th and 6th, the NASCAR street race, which is just awesome. It's a really cool event. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, everybody. It's been a fun way to get the week rolling again. A couple more comments here before we go. Look at Spain versus Portugal from Jimmy. Look at you guys talking soccer. Added to the... Let's go. I love it, man. You guys are just flipping awesome. It's been the Recap Lunch Hour with Guff here on a Monday, all brought to you by Hooters. For everybody here at the Recap, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. OriginalHooters.com to visit one of the 11 Chicagoland locations nearest you. Order.Hooters.com to pick up and take out. You guys have an awesome rest of your day. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you tomorrow on the Recap Lunch.